Hello everyone, and a very happy new year, because here we are on the 1st of January 2026 and I'm about to start the first block of the 2026 daily stitching template. So I'm thinking some stitches pointing backwards and some stitches pointing forwards. So that's what I'm going to have a go at today. I've picked out a couple of threads. I've picked out some of my hand-dyed fine cotton. I've got a blue for the backwards facing stitches and a sort of purpley, lilac-y, bluey, pinky space dyed thread for the pointing forwards. So let's see how it goes. I've got no idea what kind of needle this is. It's just a needle that fits the thread. I've already fastened it off on the back there, and I'm just going to start by doing a straight stitch here, and maybe I'll come up about there. And what I'm going to do now is a little fly stitch on the end of that, so it looks a little bit like an arrow pointing backwards. Let's just have a look at what scale that is. It might work, it might not. Oh, I think that'll do. And then come up a little bit further along and do exactly the same thing. So I'm going to do a row of blue arrows pointing backwards, and then I'm going to do a row of purple arrows pointing forwards. Come out a little bit ahead there. You can do these any scale, I suppose, and you don't have to do what I'm doing. You can make up your own pattern. If you have something that says January to you, then use whatever design you think best. I think this might be quite, well, it's meaningful to me, I guess. And that's all it has to be, really. It just has to mean something to you. Or, in fact, not. It could be just completely random. Very often, I start with just a block of running stitch on the first day of the year, purely because I don't really know what else to do. So I'm just going to take this thread down here for now. I'll come back to that in a minute. I've got another needle threaded with the other colour. I'm just going to start that off on the back, and then I'm going to come up and do the same thing the other way. Okay, I've just started off this thread on the back as well, and I've run this other thread just along that line there to bring it back up to where I want it to come back up when I'm ready to start the next blue row. So, and I've turned it upside down because it's easier to get at. So you've got a choice here. You can either line your arrows up, so you can do each arrow directly underneath the other one, or you could stagger them and put your next arrow in the space there. And I think I'm going to line mine up. So I've just got a part of an arrow here, which I'm going to do there. And then all I'm doing is just following the pattern that I've set here. So a straight stitch and a little fly stitch. I always forget to look at where my hands are in relation to the camera, so if I've got any bits missing, well, there it is. I mean, you can kind of see what's happening. Exactly the same as the blue arrows, just pointing the other way. And so on. I'm just going to finish the rest of this row and then I'll come back to the blue row. And here I'm just doing the third row of arrows, but these are, of course, are kind of backwards. So I'm doing the straight stitch there and then just a little fly stitch on the end there. Like so. Nothing very difficult here at all, is there? And the last one there. Okay, so this is this purple thread again. So these arrows are going to point forwards. Okay, so I finished the rows of arrows. I noticed that there's a little bit more space between this central row here, and I had some blue thread left, so I've just done a little row of running stitch to finish that blue thread off, and I've still got quite a lot of this left as well, so I'm going to do the same here just to fill in this gap. So I'm going to run this purple thread up to where I want it along that convenient little line there, and the lines are made from the other side of obviously couching all the outlines. You don't need to couch all the outlines first if you don't want to. It's entirely up to you. You can stitch them as you go along. I just find it a bit easier to have the framework already there. So I'm just doing a tiny little running stitch in between here just to balance that space. And if you wanted to get the spacing right in the first place, then you could always draw it first. Probably what I should have done. I don't tend to draw anything, I just tend to start stitching because it's intuitive and we're making it up as we go along. You know, I don't like there to be too much of a plan. But you know, you can do it however you want. If you prefer to plan it, or if it makes you more confident to draw it first, then by all means do. Right, there we go. So I think I'm going to call that one finished, and you can see it's very simple, and I think it's enough.